Good morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Mike, what day is it, Mike? It is Wednesday, December 4th, and we have a very strong cold front headed our way in western Iowa. Winds expected to gust to maybe 50 miles an hour, and temperatures will be falling this afternoon. And by tomorrow, it's going to be, well, by morning, it'll be brutally cold. All right, that's for us. But what's going on in your neck of the woods? Well, maybe you're watching from western Iowa and you see, we do have a wind advisory today, so be advised it's going to be windy, but that's also for South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. And then you go further north up there into North Dakota, winter weather advisory, so be advised it's going to be winter weather. Great Lakes, seeing lake effect snow, especially off of Superior and Michigan. Winter storm warnings here with a few winter weather advisories around that. And then also snow coming to the northeast with wind in the east as well. And then we have some fog out west. 24-hour temperature change. It's actually warmer this morning here in Iowa by a good 10, 15 degrees. Temperature's 34 right now. So yeah, it was in the teens yesterday, if you remember. Then South Dakota even warmer than that on the 24-hour temperature change. So really the plains into the Midwest is much warmer this morning. Everyone else pretty close to where they were yesterday. Maybe a little cooler southeast especially. All right, let's check out the surface for today because we do have a front moving through Iowa today and then a colder front up north, and that's going to be filling in behind the front moving in today. So much cooler temperatures coming for some, especially in the Midwest. And there you see the snow, upper Midwest through the Great Lakes into the Northeast, maybe a mixture further south of that, and some showers and some rain for Texas and the Southeast. Our anomalous temperatures today, a little above average here in Iowa. That's going to be earlier in the day because the cold front's going to move through and the colder air is going to start blowing in, and I do mean blowing in. But much below average up there in North Dakota, and below average today, East Texas, but especially in the southeast and the east. Temperatures this morning, like it's freezing right now in Atlanta, for example. So it's cold in the southeast. Those freeze warnings came true. Highs today look like this. Only getting into the low 50s, Georgia, South Carolina, only 40s, North Carolina. 50s for much of the southeast into Tennessee. A little warmer as you get further west into Texas and a little further north into Kansas, upper 50s. But there are your 40s. For Iowa, and again, that's before noon. Temperatures will be falling this afternoon. All right, here are your surface for tomorrow. Here is your surface for tomorrow. That cold front going all the way down to the Gulf Coast with some showers and storms around that. A little bit of snow in New Mexico, rain mixed with snow in New Mexico. And then you see the rain-snow mix from eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, up through the northeast with some heavy lake effect snow coming off of the eastern Great Lakes and up into Maine as well. Lingering snows for the rest of the Great Lakes and a system approaching the northwest. Anomalous temperatures tomorrow. That cold will be felt. Northern plains through the Midwest down into Kentucky, Tennessee, you're 10, 15, 20 degrees below average. And then that extends over into the northeast, even a little bit of the mid-Atlantic. So, yeah, low temperatures tomorrow here in western Iowa. It's going to be about 10 for a low and still breezy. So maybe even single digits and still breezy. So wind chills will be below zero probably here in Iowa. You get up into North Dakota, Minot, actually below zero, 3 below. And those cold temperatures extend all the way down into Tennessee with lows in the 20s. Teens for the Great Lakes, and then 20s further east. You have to get down to the Gulf Coast to see 40s and 50s. There's 64 for Houston, so that's a warm start, I guess. And then tomorrow afternoon, Houston gets up there to 62, so that is chilly for you guys. 60 barely for southern Georgia. Then you get up into the plains, 40s for Kansas, into the Midwest, 40s for Missouri. You get into into Iowa where I live, and tomorrow's high is only supposed to be 20 where I live. This is showing more low 20s, but the official forecast says a high tomorrow of 20. All right. Getting ready for that, and a little bit of a breeze still, but yeah, there we go. All right, 48-hour precipitation. It looks like some rain down there in the southeast, so East Texas into Louisiana, could be 1.5 inches for some, even getting into Mississippi. And then further north, that's mostly snow for the Great Lakes. In fact, we can show you that. Snow for the Great Lakes, and those amounts are pretty hefty, 1 foot to 1.5 foot for most. That get hit with those snow jets. And the last bout of lake effect snow, some people got 3, 4, 5 feet. And so this is on top of that. And then the snow extends into, say, Vermont, New Hampshire, up into Maine, and even a little bit of snow for New Hampshire and Connecticut and Massachusetts. For Friday, snow continuing up in the Great Lakes. Showers for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and back into New Mexico with a mix in there possible. And then a next system for the Pacific Northwest, rain or snow or even freezing rain for parts of Washington. Anomalous temperatures on Friday. It's cold east and warm west. And it's really cold for, like, say, the mid-Atlantic. I mean, really the east is pretty cold here. And those high temperatures on Friday, not getting above freezing for much of the Great Lakes and east, barely into the 40s for North Carolina, barely into the 50s for Georgia, 40s and 50s for much of Texas, 61 Houston. You get way down into South Texas, and I think that's 80 for McAllen. All right, 50s for the Willamette Valley, and you see a lot of 50s in the plains because things are starting to move up temperature-wise in the plains. 50s now, all the way up into South Dakota, into Montana, moving into western Iowa. And the cold stuff is way up there in New England. Sunday, warmer still in the plains with a lot of 60s getting into Kansas even, and into Nebraska, at least upper 50s to near 60. And here into western Iowa, temperatures solidly into the mid 50s, low to mid 50s. So warm temperatures coming this weekend. Pleasant enough because it'll be cooling off again next week. All right, let's check it out, and we'll go fast. In the latest GFS model, we'll start this morning. We do see this low here. This is going to be the driver of a lot of our weather. So this is causing the snow in the Great Lakes. It's also driving the cold air out of Canada behind it. And then we see a disturbance coming into Texas. And so our showers moving into the southeast. Those are kind of the two players. And so as we go through today, we see rain moving into Louisiana, Mississippi, into Alabama, and even parts of Florida. Meanwhile, lots of wind and lake effect snow coming off the lakes. And some of that snow gets pretty close to the coast. And then as we get through tomorrow, we start to see the warmer temperatures move into the plains. We see another disturbance here in Texas. And we see our next system for the Pacific Northwest. But snow still coming off of the Great Lakes. And we're now getting into Saturday. This is Saturday morning. This is Saturday afternoon, the rain in Texas, the rain and snow for the Pacific Northwest, and things quieting down in the Great Lakes. You see these red lines moving north and east. This is the warmer air invading the plains and into the Midwest. And then our rain picking up down here in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. This gets us into Sunday at noon here. Heavy rain for Louisiana into Arkansas. And we're starting to see our cold front now dropping south in the Pacific Northwest with scattered snows even at the lower elevations, places like Idaho, Nevada, Montana, into Utah, Colorado, with a lot of rain now moving into the Great Lakes on top of all that snow. And then heavy rain down here, Mississippi, moving into Alabama, with our light snow in the Northwest becoming more snow into Colorado. Where does that drop? It drops into West Texas. And so by the time we get into Tuesday of next week, could be snow from Amarillo to Lubbock, down to Jowl, New Mexico, maybe even Carlsbad. Childress, perhaps getting some snow Tuesday, the 10th. How exciting. And then some rain along the Texas Gulf Coast. Maybe some heavy rain in the Florida Panhandle. Then we get into Tuesday, noontime, the 10th, and that low ejects northward with some snow into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. Maybe clipping a little bit of West Tennessee into Kentucky, moving into Indiana and Ohio with thunderstorms and snow and rain mixed with snow and just kind of a big storm. And if it stays this far west, we're going to see some heavy rains on some of that snowpack. If it comes a little further to the east, it'll be a little more snow. But that bears watching as we get into late next week. Thursday it kind of exits, and Friday things start to quiet down a little bit. So kind of exciting for West Texas especially. Could be one of those, you only get snow 1 to 3 times a year usually, and maybe that's going to be one of them. All right, 8 to 14 day temperatures. It's a warming trend for most of the country from December 11 through the 17th, and that includes Alaska and Hawaii. Precipitation-wise, Northwest is your best chance for above average precipitation, also Great Lakes, East and Southeast. And the best chance for below average precipitation, basically the Southwest into New Mexico and Texas. All right, that is a quick look at your forecast. So thank you for tuning in. The Weather Mike. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.